My fiancée demanded a strict prenup to protect her future assets, or the wedding was off. I signed it without hesitation. 3 years later, I won the $5 million jackpot. When she asked for her share, I pointed to the clause she wrote herself. Her lawyer was speechless. Original post. I, 35 male, married my now wife, 33, 3 years ago. We'd been dating for 2 years before that, and honestly, I thought she was perfect. Smart, ambitious, had her life together. She worked in pharmaceutical sales, made decent money, had a nice condo she owned outright thanks to an inheritance from her grandmother. About 6 months before our wedding, she sat me down for the talk. I thought maybe she was pregnant or wanted to discuss kids. Nope. We need a prenup, she said, sliding a folder across the table. I wasn't opposed. I'm a high school history teacher, made about $62 a year at the time. She was pulling in around $95 with bonuses. I figured she wanted to protect her condo and savings. Made sense. Okay, sure, we can hire a lawyer together and… I already had my attorney draft it. Red flag? Maybe. But I loved her, and honestly, what did I have to protect? My 2015 Honda Civic and about $18 in savings? I opened the folder. This thing was thorough, like 37 pages thorough. The key points. Her condo remains her separate property. Her inheritance and any future inheritance stays hers. All assets acquired before marriage remain separate. Any assets acquired during marriage through individual means remain the property of the acquirer. Any lottery winnings, gambling proceeds, or windfall gains acquired by either party remain separate property of the winner. Income earned during marriage goes into separate accounts. We'd split household bills 60-40 based on our income ratio. That last point about lottery winnings? I actually laughed. Babe, I buy maybe one scratch ticket a year when I'm feeling lucky. This seems excessive. She didn't laugh. My attorney insisted. It protects both of us. Both of us? I don't have anything. Exactly, so you have nothing to lose by signing. Her mother was there too, another red flag I ignored. Sweetie, this is just smart planning. You understand, right? My daughter worked hard for what she has. She needs protection. I shrugged. Fine, let me have my own lawyer review it first though. Why? Don't you trust me? My fiancée's face did this thing where she looked hurt but also annoyed. It's not about trust, it's about being smart, like you said. She sighed dramatically. Fine, but if you don't sign it, there's no wedding. I can't marry someone who won't respect my boundaries. I took it to a lawyer buddy who owed me a favor. He skimmed it, laughed, and said, Dude, she's protecting assets you don't even have access to. This is so one-sided, it's almost funny. But hey, you're not losing anything you currently have, so if you love her, sign it. I signed it. We got married. Things were fine. Not great, but fine. She kept her money separate. I kept mine. We had a joint account for bills that we both contributed to. She made it clear early on that her condo was hers, even though I lived there, and I shouldn't redecorate or change anything without asking. Then, about 4 months ago, I stopped at a gas station on my way home from work. Bought a Mega Millions ticket on impulse. $2. Didn't think twice about it. 3 days later, I was grading papers when I remembered to check the numbers. I won. Not the full jackpot, but I matched 5 numbers plus the mega ball on a smaller drawing. $5.2 million before taxes. I literally sat there for 20 minutes checking and rechecking. Called the lottery office. Verified. It was real. $5.2 million. After taxes, I'd see about $3.1 million. Still life-changing money. I told her that night at dinner. You're joking. I'm not. I verified it 3 times. I have to go claim it tomorrow. She dropped her fork. Oh my God, we're rich. Well, I'm comfortable now. We'll be fine. We'll be fine? This is our money. I shook my head slowly. Actually, no. Remember the prenup? Any lottery winnings, gambling proceeds, or windfall gains acquired by either party remain separate property of the winner. Your lawyer was real specific about that. Her face went white, then red. That was meant to protect my future assets. It says either party. That includes me. But you don't have anything. That clause was for me. Babe, it's in writing. It's legally binding. She stood up, grabbed the prenup from her home office, and started flipping through it frantically. I watched her find the clause, watched her read it over and over. This isn't fair. I didn't mean it like this. What did you mean it like? I meant if I won something, it would be mine. You were never supposed to actually win anything. The entitlement was stunning. So it's only fair when it benefits you? Don't twist this. We're married. We're supposed to share. Like we shared your inheritance, your condo, your separate savings account? She had no response to that. Just stared at me like I'd betrayed her. I claimed the winnings the next day. Took the lump sum. Set up a meeting with a financial advisor. Got everything squared away. I haven't filed for divorce yet. But I'm living in my own apartment now. A nice one. Paid cash for a year up front. Gave my notice at the school for the end of the year. Wanted to finish with my students. The real drama started when her family found out. Update 1, 2 weeks later. So the last 2 weeks have been absolutely insane. My wife's family has gone completely off the rails, and I'm documenting everything because this feels like it's heading toward legal territory. The family intervention. 4 days after I moved out, my wife's mother organized what she called a family meeting. She showed up at my new apartment with my wife, her father, and her brother, who I've always thought was a tool, now confirmed. I opened the door. How did you get my address? My wife, I followed you from school. Creepy, but whatever. What do you want? Her mother pushed past me into my apartment. We need to talk about this situation you've created. I didn't create any situation. I won money that the prenup says is mine. Her brother, don't be dense. You know that clause wasn't meant for you. It says either party. I'm a party. It applies to me. Her father, who'd been quiet until now. Son, be reasonable. You were making teacher money when you signed that. The spirit of the agreement was to protect existing wealth. The spirit? It's a legal document. The words matter. My wife started crying. How can you be so cold? I thought you loved me. I do love you. But you made it very clear when we got married that we keep our finances separate. I'm just following the rules you set. Her mother, this is financial abuse. You're withholding marital assets. I actually laughed. Your lawyer drafted that prenup. Your lawyer put in that specific clause about lottery winnings. I just followed it. Her brother got aggressive. Stepped up close to me. You're really gonna screw over my sister like this? After everything she's done for you? Like what? Letting me pay 40% of the bills while living in her condo that I couldn't change or personalize? Real generous. That's when he shoved me. Not hard, but enough that I stumbled back. Big mistake on his part. Get out, all of you. Now. Her mother, we're not leaving until you agree to share that money fairly. Fair? Like how it was fair that her inheritance was off limits? Like how it was fair that her condo was completely hers even though I lived there? Get out. I pulled out my phone. I'm calling the cops. You have 30 seconds. They left, but not before her mother said, you'll regret this. We'll see you in court. The lawyer consultation. My wife did exactly what her mother threatened. I got served with papers 3 days ago. She's trying to argue that the prenup should be thrown out because it was signed under duress, and the lottery clause was unconscionable. I met with my own attorney yesterday. His name's on my contacts list as best decision ever now. He read through everything, looked at the timeline, reviewed the prenup, and just started grinning. This is beautiful. She drafted this herself? Her lawyer drafted it. Even better. She had legal representation. You had legal representation. There's no duress claim here. And unconscionable? She's the one who insisted on the separate property provisions. She can't cherry-pick which ones apply. So I'm good? You're golden. In fact, I think we should countersue for the cost of this frivolous lawsuit plus attorney fees. Will that work? Her lawyer's going to take one look at this prenup and tell her to drop it. If she doesn't, she's going to hemorrhage money on a case she can't win. The financial manipulation. Here's where it gets really ugly. Yesterday, I got a call from my bank. Apparently, my wife tried to claim there was fraud on our joint account, the one we use for bills, and attempted to freeze all the funds in it. The account has maybe $4,200 in it. My share of bills for the next 2 months. The bank caught it because the prenup, which I'd provided to them when I started moving my money, clearly stated separate finances, and she's not authorized to make unilateral decisions on that account. But get this. She also tried to claim she needed emergency access to my new accounts because she was my wife and I was hiding marital assets. The bank shut her down hard, told her she needed a court order. She apparently had a meltdown right there in the branch. They have it on security footage. Then I got a call from my school principal. My wife had contacted them claiming I was experiencing a mental health crisis and needed to take a leave of absence. Said I'd come into sudden money and was making erratic decisions. Thankfully, my principal knows me well. Just wanted to give you a heads up. We're not doing anything with this, but document it. The entitlement is honestly breathtaking. She wants to paint me as unstable while simultaneously trying to access money that legally isn't hers. The real kicker, I was going through old files yesterday and found something interesting. Remember how she said her lawyer insisted on the lottery clause? I found an email chain from before our wedding. She'd used our shared computer to print something and left her email open. She specifically told her lawyer to include that clause because, and I quote, "I occasionally buy lottery tickets, and if I ever win big, I don't want him thinking he's entitled to any of it." She wanted that protection. For herself. Never imagined it could apply to me. I forwarded those emails to my lawyer. He was thrilled. My wife's been texting nonstop. The messages started apologetic, then angry, then desperate. Now they're just weird. "We can work this out. I'll drop the lawsuit if you just share 50 cents, 40%. Please, I made a mistake. Can we just talk? You're destroying our marriage over money. Everyone thinks you're being selfish. My mom's lawyer says we have a strong case. They don't 30%. I haven't responded to any of them. My lawyer said not to engage. The preliminary hearing is in 3 weeks. Her lawyer already requested an emergency meeting with the judge to discuss the validity of the prenuptial agreement. My lawyer's response? Bring it on. Update 2. 1 month later. The courtroom drama exceeded my wildest expectations. Her lawyer really thought he had something here. He really did. The court hearing? We met in front of a judge last week for the preliminary hearing. My wife showed up with her mother, her brother, and 2 lawyers. 2. Apparently, she hired a second one who specializes in unconscionable contracts. I showed up with my 1 lawyer, a briefcase full of documentation, and 0 patience for nonsense. Her primary lawyer went first. Your Honor, my client believes this prenuptial agreement should be voided due to several factors. First, the clause regarding lottery winnings is unconscionable as it was never intended to. The judge held up her hand. Counselor, did your client have legal representation when signing this prenup? She did, but did the respondent have legal representation? Yes, however. Was there any coercion, fraud, or duress involved in the signing? Her lawyer hesitated. Not in the traditional sense, Your Honor, but my client was in love and didn't fully understand the implications. So she signed a legal document with a lawyer present of her own free will? Yes, Your Honor. And this prenup was drafted by her attorney, correct? That's correct, but the specific lottery clause was meant to protect her future. The judge cut him off again. Counselor, I've reviewed this document. The language is crystal clear. Either party means both parties. That's basic contract law. Do you have any legal precedent suggesting otherwise? He didn't. He stammered through some nonsense about the spirit of the agreement and how I was being unfair. Then my lawyer stood up. Oh man, this was beautiful. Your Honor, I'd like to submit several pieces of evidence. First, an email chain from before the marriage, where the plaintiff specifically requested this clause to protect her own lottery activities. Second, documentation showing that for the entire marriage, the plaintiff insisted on completely separate finances per her own demands. Third, bank records showing she never contributed to his separate accounts or allowed him access to hers. Fourth, testimony from the plaintiff's own mother, stating that the prenup was designed to protect what's hers. He laid it all out. Every email, every bank statement, every text message where she'd told me, my money is mine. The judge looked at my wife. Ma'am, you had this prenup drafted specifically to keep assets separate. You insisted your husband sign it or there would be no wedding. Is that correct? My wife tried to speak, but her voice cracked. I? Yes, but I never thought. You never thought he'd have assets worth protecting? That's not how contracts work. Her second lawyer jumped in. Your Honor, we'd like to argue that the prenup should be voided because the consideration was inadequate. My client brought significantly more assets to the marriage, and she wanted to keep them separate, which this prenup allows her to do. You can't have it both ways, Counselor. Then came the nuclear moment. My lawyer pulled out another document. Your Honor, we'd also like to submit this attempted fraud report from the defendant's bank. The plaintiff tried to claim fraud on their joint account and freeze his funds. She also contacted his employer claiming he was mentally unstable. We believe this demonstrates a pattern of financial manipulation and harassment. The judge's expression went from annoyed to seriously displeased. Is this true? My wife's lawyer looked like he wanted to disappear. Your Honor, my client was emotional and made some regrettable decisions. Some regrettable decisions? Counselor, attempting to freeze someone's bank account and contacting their employer with false claims isn't regrettable. It's potentially criminal. Her lawyer tried to salvage it. We'd like to request a continuance to better prepare our case. Request denied. This prenup is valid and enforceable. Case dismissed. Just like that, over. But my wife wasn't done. The parking lot ambush. As I was leaving the courthouse, my wife's brother and father cornered me in the parking garage. Not physically threatening, but definitely aggressive. Her father, you really did this. You actually screwed over my daughter. I followed the legal agreement she demanded I sign. Her brother, legal doesn't mean right. You know she needs that money. Needs? She makes $95 a year and owns a condo outright. Her father, she has expenses, plans. She was going to invest in a business opportunity. With my money? That's not how this works. Her brother stepped closer. Family takes care of family. Then where was this energy when she refused to let me put even one picture on the wall of her condo? Where was this when she made sure every penny she earned stayed separate from mine? Her father looked genuinely confused. That was different. She earned that money. And I earned this. Well, I won it. Same principle, according to the prenup she wrote. Her brother, you're making a huge mistake. When she's successful and you're still a broke teacher, don't come crawling back. I'm not a teacher anymore. I quit, and I won't be crawling anywhere. They didn't like that, but they left. The settlement offer. 2 days after the hearing, I got a call from her lawyer. A different one. Her third lawyer, apparently. My client would like to propose a settlement. The court already ruled. Yes, but she'd like to avoid further litigation. She's willing to drop all claims in exchange for $800,000. I actually laughed out loud. $800,000? For what? Pain and suffering, emotional distress, and to preserve the marriage. The marriage where she kept everything separate. The marriage where she made it clear my contributions didn't matter. That marriage. My client is willing to be reasonable. Tell your client I'm willing to give her exactly what the prenup entitles her to, nothing, because that's what I got from her stuff. That's very cold. It's very consistent. Have a nice day. I hung up and immediately called my lawyer. They offered me a settlement. Let me guess, they want you to pay them? $800. He laughed so hard I thought he'd hurt himself. The audacity. Absolutely not. In fact, I'm filing our countersuit today. The countersuit. My lawyer filed a countersuit for legal fees, harassment, attempted fraud, and defamation for contacting my employer with false claims. We're asking for $125,000 in damages. Her new lawyer tried to call it aggressive and vindictive. My lawyer's response? Your client tried to steal money through legal manipulation after losing in court. This is accountability. The discovery phase is ongoing, but here's what we've uncovered. 1. She took out a personal loan for $50,000 3 weeks before I won the lottery to invest in her friend's MLM scheme, essential oils or some nonsense. She was counting on her next bonus to pay it back. The bonus didn't happen because her sales tanked. 2. She's been telling everyone, friends, family, coworkers, that I'm stealing her money. Several people have contacted me asking why I'm being so cruel to her. 3. She tried to access my parents' information to explain the situation to them. My mom hung up on her after 2 minutes and called me laughing. 4. Her mother hired a private investigator to follow me, presumably to find evidence of something. The PI contacted my lawyer and said he'd be happy to testify that I've done nothing but work with my financial advisor and look at houses. The final straw. Last week I came home to find my car keyed. Not random scratches. The word thief carved into the driver's side door. I have a security camera now, first thing I bought after moving. The footage clearly shows my wife's brother doing it. I filed a police report. He was arrested yesterday. My wife called me crying, begging me to drop the charges. He's family. He made a mistake. He committed a crime. Please, he'll lose his job if he gets convicted. Should have thought about that before he keyed my car. I'll pay for the repairs. With what money? Your separate account that I was never allowed to know the balance of? She couldn't respond to that. I'm not dropping the charges. I'm done being the nice guy who gets walked all over. Final update. 2 months later. It's over. Finally. Let me wrap up this saga. The divorce. I filed for divorce 6 weeks ago. Given the prenup, it was straightforward. We had no shared assets beyond that joint account with $4,200 in it. We split it. She tried to claim she deserved alimony because she'd become accustomed to a certain lifestyle. The judge literally laughed. Ma'am, according to these records, you kept your finances completely separate throughout your marriage. You earned more than your husband. You contributed to exactly one joint account for bills. There is no lifestyle he provided that you became accustomed to. Her lawyer tried one last Hail Mary. Your Honor, the lottery winnings fundamentally changed the marital dynamics. The lottery winnings that the prenup explicitly designated as separate property? Try again, counselor. Divorce granted. Clean break. I walked out of that courthouse a free man. The countersuit results. The countersuit settled out of court. Her lawyer finally convinced her that going to trial would cost her more than just paying up. She agreed to pay $85,000 for legal fees, harassment, and the defamation claim. Her insurance covered the defamation part, but the legal fees came out of her pocket. Turns out that MLM investment went south fast. She lost the entire $50. She's now underwater on that personal loan, and her credits tanked because she missed 2 payments. The irony is beautiful. She tried to get my money to cover her bad decisions and ended up deeper in debt. Her brother's consequences. Her brother pled guilty to vandalism to avoid a more serious charge. He got 100 hours of community service and has to pay restitution for my car repairs, $2,800. He also got fired from his job because they have a zero-tolerance policy for criminal convictions. My wife's mother called me to yell about ruining his life. I reminded her that he ruined it himself when he committed a crime on camera. She hung up on me. The family aftermath. The family has completely fractured. My ex-wife's father apparently took my side, quietly. He called me a month ago. I owe you an apology. I didn't know how bad she'd gotten. Her mother enabled this behavior her whole life. I tried to warn her the prenup was too strict, but she insisted. We talked for an hour. Turns out he'd been unhappy in his own marriage for years, always bending to his wife's demands. Seeing this whole situation play out was a wake-up call for him. He's filing for divorce too. His soon-to-be ex-wife blames me for destroying the family, because of course she does. My ex-wife moved back in with her mother. She's apparently miserable. Her friends distanced themselves after the truth came out about her behavior. The ones who stayed told me privately that she's been insufferable, constantly playing victim. She sent one final text 2 weeks ago. I hope you're happy alone with your money. I didn't respond. But honestly, yeah, I am happy. Where I am now. I bought a house. 3-bedroom, nice yard, quiet neighborhood. Paid cash. It's completely mine. No strings attached. I'm not teaching anymore. Instead, I started a scholarship fund for low-income students. Donated $500 to it up front. The rest of my winnings are invested conservatively. I'm living off the interest, volunteering at a local community center, and actually enjoying life for the first time in years. I realized something during this whole mess. My ex-wife never saw me as a partner. I was someone who helped with bills and didn't interfere with her life. The second I had something of value, she felt entitled to it, while still keeping everything of hers locked away. The prenup she insisted on wasn't about protection, it was about control. She wanted the freedom to keep everything separate while having the security of a husband. She just never expected that arrangement to benefit me instead of her. What I learned. People show you who they are. My ex-wife showed me repeatedly that she valued her independence and her assets above our partnership. I just didn't want to see it. When she insisted on that prenup, when she wouldn't let me hang pictures in her condo, when she kept her accounts completely separate, those weren't just quirks. They were warnings. The lottery money didn't change who I am. It just revealed who she was. And you know what? That $2 lottery ticket was the best money I ever spent. Not because of the jackpot, but because it showed me the truth before I wasted more years with someone who saw me as convenient rather than essential. Some people in my life think I should have shared the money. They say marriage is about compromise and generosity. And they're right, marriage is about those things, but our marriage never was. She made sure of that. I don't regret the divorce. I don't regret enforcing the prenup. And I definitely don't regret putting my foot down when she tried to manipulate and harass me into giving up what was legally mine. The best revenge isn't living well. It's living authentically, on your own terms, without someone trying to control your every move while keeping you at arm's length. I'm good. More than good. I'm free. And the prenup she demanded to protect herself, it protected me instead. Beautifully. Perfectly. Exactly as written. Thanks for following this journey, Reddit. Time to move forward and actually enjoy life.